Okay, so we're going to be working with the same 8-page layout that we've been building up over this time. So you're going to open Activity 411 8-page layout. So by now you will have done the active learning, so you will have a pretty good idea of how to format text and all the different types of settings. So we're going to put that into practice here. So remember this that we looked at when we were first starting to create our master pages. We use these as our sort of inspiration. So this is the cover and these are the 2 double-page spreads that we used. So looking back at these, I'm going to roughly use them, but really they're a starting point and an inspiration for the kind of typography and text formatting that we're going to do. So roughly following this sort of text formatting. So if we look at the cover page, what we're going to do first is we're going to format the master pages before we actually go into the actual pages like this one and do the actual text. So cover layout, master page, we're going to take this top text frame here and I'm going to make sure that it respects our margins and columns. So for this one I'm going to just adjust it so that it snaps to the left margin there, and then I'm going to adjust the width so that it snaps to the right margin. Of course it's outside of the top margin, but that's fine. And then we're going to format it. So I'm going to take my type tool and I'm going to select it, and now we have our formatting options up here. So we have our character formatting and our paragraph formatting. So first of all, under paragraph formatting I'm going to center it, and then under character formatting I'm going to, now if you look at this document here, we're quite lucky in that it uses a sans serif font, and it's pretty much a basic font. It looks like it could be Arial or Helvetica or something like that, which is fine. So I'm not going to use anything exotic because I want you to also have the same font as me. But obviously when you're doing your own work, you will put a little bit more thought into font choices and follow some of the best practices that you'll be learning in this learning unit. But we're going to stick to really simple fonts here. So I'm going to choose Arial and I'm going to choose regular. And then I'm going to start pushing the size up. So I'm just clicking in the size area here and I'm using my up arrow. If I want to go quicker, I can use shift up arrow and then it goes much quicker. So I'm going to go to 40 points, and then I'm also going to capitalize it. So I'm going to go to type, change case, uppercase, and I'm going to make it white. So type, fill color, and paper. Okay, so in InDesign there is no white, it's paper, so whatever the color of your paper is, that's what this will be. And then with my selection tool I'm going to remove that blue by going to none. Okay, so we've got that top heading, and then what I want to also do is go to Object, Text Frame Options, and just increase the inset spacing a little bit, just so the text is more centered. So 2 millimeters is working for me there. Obviously as you work with it you're going to find your settings maybe a little bit different to mine, but that's okay. That's how typography works, is you've got to be prepared to tweak things to make them look the way you want them to. Alright, so that's the top heading. Then we're going to go into this section, and the first part is going to be the title of the publication. So that's going to be pretty big. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to center it, and I'm going to make it Arial bold, and I'm going to increase the size. I'm going to make it, and this will change as you actually start to lay out your proper text, obviously. And I'm also going to, let me take the size down to 50 and then increase the tracking so that the letters are more spaced out, and then I can just go up a few points. Okay, I want it to be right from edge to edge. I'm also going to, at this point in time, I'm just going to make it paper. We are not dealing with color yet, so I'm either going to make the text black or white. When we get to dealing with color, then I'll dive into changing colors. So title of publication, then we have the by line. Who is it by? So this, again, I'm going to center. I'm going to make it Arial italic. And let's just push that size up a little bit. And change the leading so that it's pushed down a little bit. And I'm going to leave that black. Alright, and then the strap line, I'm going to select that and make that just Arial regular. Center it. And this is going to be fairly big. And I'm also going to capitalize that. So change case, uppercase. And I'm going to increase the leading so it's further down. And what I also want to do is I want to put an underscore and an overscore. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to go to our character panel, so type, character, and I'm going to, okay, first of all I'm going to change it to paper, so that's the color. And then I'm going to go to my options for my character panel and I'm going to choose underline options, put underline on, and I'm going to set the weight to 1 point, and then I'm going to set the offset. Now it's quite difficult for me to see here, so I'm just going to change the color to black just so I can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to offset it down a little bit, so pushing it down a bit. So I've got 9 points there, then I'll set it back to text color. And okay, then I'm going to go to strike through options, put that on, also change it to black so I can see it. So you can see it's actually striking through the whole text. I'll set it to 1 point and I'll offset it so that it's above the text, like that, and then set it back to text color and okay. Alright, so now that's my strap line. Then I'm going to change that with my selection tool. I'm going to change the fill color to none. And I'm also going to go to Object, Text Frame Options, and we're going to push the text in a little bit with inset spacing. In fact, not the left and right. So I'm going to unlink that and just for the top, inset spacing a little bit. Okay, and I can also just bring this up a bit. Perfect. Alright, so that's great for the master page. It's a good starting point. Once we get to the actual page, obviously there'll be more tweaking to be done. Then let's take this text area and we're going to select the text. I'm going to make the text box. So select selection tool, I'm going to make it black. And then I'm going to go to text and make it paper. Okay, let's just check that again. Black and 100% tint. That's what I want. Okay, and we're going to change the, so I need to select the text. We're going to change it to Arial bold, centered, and let's push the size up a little bit. And then selection tool, Object, Text Frame Options, and we'll do inset spacing. Just push it in a little bit. Okay, and what I don't want is I don't want it to hyphenate. So type tool, select the text, go to paragraph settings and uncheck hyphenate. Okay, so there's our call to action. Then down at the bottom we want to do some formatting here. So the subheading, we're going to make that Arial bold and centered, and we'll push the size up a bit, let's say 20 points, and we'll leave it black at the moment. And then the text, we'll make that Arial regular, and also center it, and we'll push the size up to 14 and the leading up a little bit, 20 points. Okay, then selection tool, and then object, text frame options, and let's just push let's lock them together, and let's just push the text in a little bit there. Okay, that'll work. And then also, this is not like lining up with the columns, so I want to do that, so this is going to snap into the column there and be the perfect column width. I'm going to delete these two, and I'm just going to hold down Alt with my selection tool and copy these across. So you can see the way I'm just changing things a little bit so that they are looking neater. In layers, I'm going to uncheck these layers, and I'm just going to take this little line and place that in there like that. And I'm going to make it black at the moment so I can see it better. Same with this one. Okay. Alright, so if I press W, that's what my master page looks like. Now this graphic here actually should be on top of the text, and it should be in the graphics layer. So I'm going to move it into the graphics layer, and I'm also going to move the graphics layer. Well, I'm going to actually create two graphics layers, one for above text and one for below text, because I might actually have graphics that I don't want to be above the text. So I'm going to make another layer, and I'm going to call it graphics above text, and we'll pop that above the text layer, and then we'll take that and put it up there. Okay, so we've got graphics above text, we've got our text, which should actually be in the text layer. Okay, so let's do that. Oh, it is in the text layer. Okay, and then we've got graphics below, and we've got images, and we've got background. Okay, so here we need to take that background color out, so I'm going to select choose none, and that's now the master page ready. So I'm going to save that. I'm just going to call it finished, just so I don't save over the original. And so we're going to continue onto the other pages. So that's this page and this page. Now I'm not going to talk you through this because it's going to be a very long video if I do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into these master pages, DPS Layout 1, DPS Layout 2, and I'm only using variants of Arial. So you will have that font. If you don't, you should have it on your computer. And so you can watch. I'm going to speed it up a little bit, and you can watch and just do the best you can to try and mimic the type of formatting that I'm doing. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but as close as you can get to that. And then we'll carry on once we've finished the master pages. Okay, so that is the basic formatting of the text from the master pages, and obviously it's a starting point. It's not going to be exactly how it is in the final product. So that's DPS layout 2, DPS layout 1, and cover page. Okay, let me just save. So now we're ready to actually start adding our actual text. So I'm going to go to the cover, and remember that in fact I'm going to lock all except my text layer, and then I'm going to override the text item. So Shift Command or Control click on the top heading here, and now we're going to type in here capitals Durban Botanic, and then Shift Command or Control click on this text here, and now we can change this. So this will be not caps, gardens, and let's just take out the square brackets, and now we need to make some changes. So this needs to be really big. Okay, and then that means that some stuff has become overset here, so I'm going to increase the width of that. So the byline is my name. Whoops. Okay, let me just do that again. Okay, so we've done the cover except for the bottom text here, which is hardly even visible. So selection tool and Shift Command or Control click. I'll do all three of them. And now I'll put in the text here. So I'm going to change the text to paper, and the heading is going to be flowers, and the body text is going to be vibrant blossoms of all shapes and colors. Okay, and then this one is going to be trees. Now you might be wondering why I don't just delete this and type over it, and the reason why is because if you select something from edge to edge and delete it and then type, you're going to lose the formatting. So that's why I go inside here first, and then I take my square brackets out, just so that I don't risk the chance of losing the formatting. And then here, just select and type over should keep the formatting. So this is going to be some established over 100 years ago. Okay, and let's make that also paper. Whoa. Text first, then paper. Okay, and then here is going to be bird life. And the gardens are a sanctuary for some of the city's rare birds. Okay, so that's become overset, so I just need to extend this box down. Just correct it, birds, and we'll make the type here paper. Okay, let's have a look at that. Alright, so if I look at my margins, I can see that this BirdLife one has gone a little bit below the margin, so I'm going to select these three and just use my up arrow just to make sure everything is inside the margin. So I'm being quite a stickler for margins at the moment. You can adjust those later on if you need to. Okay, the call to action, Shift Command or Control click. I'm going to just move it into the margin area as well. And we'll say here a personal photo journal. Okay, and then let's just adjust some things here. So leading, oops, it's a bit too close. And let me just experiment a little bit here. Okay, I figured this one out. This is actually quite advanced typography, so you probably wouldn't figure this out yourself, but when you have a situation like this, what's happening is it's automatically breaking where there's a space between the letter A, or the word A basically, and personal. So we're going to select that space. So just by using my shift and arrow key together, I'm selecting that space, and I'm going to go to type, insert white space, non-breaking space. So you can see it's a space that won't break between lines. So that's kind of the solution that I came up with there, so that's okay. Alright, so that's the cover done. The graphics, this graphic here, this one, let me try and get it, should actually go into the graphics above text layer. Just drag it again. Oh, that layer's locked. Okay. Alright, so now we're ready to move on. So this text is not terribly legible here against this background here. So I'm going to, this is where you kind of have to make certain judgments. So I'm going to do something here that isn't in the master page. So I'm going to go to the graphics layer, and I'm going to take my rectangle tool, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle from bleed to bleed across there, like that. And just select it, and I'm going to make that black, and make the stroke none, and I'm going to screen that back using an opacity. So here's opacity here. I'm just going to screen that back to 60% opacity. Okay, so if I press W now, you can see that that's much more readable against that screened color background. And as I say, we'll work with color later. Alright, so now I'm going to move on to do the other actual pages. So we're going to do 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. And as per the master pages, I'm going to speed it up. And you can try and follow along and just get used to working with the text. And it doesn't matter if it's not exactly like mine. The main thing is that you get control over text. And I have supplied you with a text document that you can work with. So that will be found under the 8-page layout folder, and it'll be called text .doc. It's a Word document, and you can literally copy and paste from that document. Okay, so I've laid out some of that text. I mean, as you can see, I've been sort of selectively copying and pasting just so that it works for me. And then there's this last pull quote here, which I'm going to do as its own thing. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm just going to make a text frame, making sure I'm on the text layer. Let's lock the other layers. And I'm just going to make a text frame over here, paste that in there, and let's just do some tweaking. We'll make it paper, and let's make this italic and smaller and aligned to the right. Okay. And I'll just put that into this margin here, just as an extra. So that's not coming from the master page, it's just something that I wanted to include. Okay, so that's the 3 layouts now. So going back to my pages, it's the cover, the pages 4 and 5, and pages 6 and 7. So I'm just recording this as a quick extra. I've just realized that I forgot to change the strap line here. So I'm going to do that quickly now. So Shift, Command, click, and let's take this strap line and we'll type with capitals, get away to yourself. Okay, and this text here is not at all visible, so we'll make that also paper and take out the square brackets. Okay, so that looks right, and then we go to here. Okay, I still hate this. Let me see if I can fix this text here. Let's just try pushing the tracking out even more. No, let's just put it back to 0. Still looks pretty bad. Okay, I'm just going to take my selection tool and I'm going to move this using this little widget here. I'm going to move this text around and until it looks better. I think that's probably a lot better. Okay, so what I can do is take my type tool, and for these letters here I can actually just change the kerning a bit. So I'm going to move my cursor along, and there's an opportunity for a bit of kerning. That's just bringing letters together. Okay, let's do here. So kerning is dealing with the space between just 2 letters as opposed to the space between a whole lot of letters, which is tracking. Okay, keeps jumping back there. So you should be this fanatical about your type. You really shouldn't be happy just to leave things looking weird. Okay, and let's try that. Okay, so as you can see, depending on the sharpness of the curve, the letters space themselves out more. So that just gives me a much nicer result. So I'm happy with that, so I'm going to leave that. So I'd like you to give this a try, watching the video. Obviously, yours is not going to be exactly the same as mine, so don't stress about that. The idea is to get a professional result. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and see you next time.